During the late 19th and early 20th century, sideshows were all the craze. Individuals, most born with severe physical deformities, arrived from across the globe to perform in sideshow troupes, notably Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey. While some performers joined the sideshow through skills such as fire-eating, sword-swallowing, or trapeze acts, the ones who made history stunned the world with their abnormal bodies and rare medical conditions. So, join us for today's video, as we're going to look at the 15 most shocking circus freaks that actually existed. Number 15. Edward Mordacke. Edward was born into English nobility in the 19th century, but no wealth could shield him from the horror that came with his body. A second face, located on the back of his head. Unlike a typical growth or tumor, this face appeared expressive. According to legends, it whispered sinister things to him at night, vile, mocking, and soul-crushing words that he claimed drove him toward madness. No one could verify if it was conscious, but Edward begged doctors to remove it. Every surgeon refused. They feared it would kill him. Spiritualists offered no real help, and over time, the emotional weight broke him. He fell into a deep psychological decline and eventually took his own life at a young age. Whether all the details are entirely accurate or not, Edward Mordacke has become an unsettling piece of folklore, part tragedy, part biological mystery. His story endures as one of the most bizarre and haunting human anomalies ever recorded. Number 14. Miran-Dejo. Miran-Dejo, born in the Netherlands in 1912, became renowned for shocking the medical world by impaling his body with various objects without apparent harm. Dejo gained international recognition during the 1940s for what seemed like an unexplainable ability to push metal rods, swords, and large needles straight through his torso without visible wounds, bleeding, or pain. Medical experts, initially doubtful, were left bewildered. He underwent several X-rays and other diagnostic tests while these objects were still inside him, confirming that his performances involved no illusion or stage trickery. Dejo is remembered as an unsettling and perplexing figure, a man who appeared to defy the limits of human anatomy and tolerance. His acts drew worldwide attention, leaving both professionals and everyday spectators deeply disturbed, fascinated, and confused. Though his methods and motivations remain mysterious, his legacy endures as one of the strangest chapters in circus and medical history, marked by disbelief and morbid awe. Number 13. Felix Werle. Felix Werle, also known as the Elastic Man, was born in 1858 in Wisconsin. This guy stunned audiences with a body that seemed made of rubber, much like Gary Turner. He could stretch his skin several inches in any direction and twist his limbs far beyond what seemed physically possible. His joints bent backward without effort, and his skin snapped and pulled like elastic. He toured with several circuses and appeared in medical exhibitions, where professionals speculated he had Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, a rare connective tissue disorder that made his skin and joints unnaturally loose. In the spotlight, Felix wasn't just a medical curiosity. He was a skilled performer who knew how to use his body to astonish a crowd. People watched in disbelief as he folded his arms backward or pulled the skin from his neck like taffy. He turned a genetic condition into a form of controlled spectacle. Felix became one of the most memorable physical performers of his era, equal parts wonder, control, and anatomical defiance. Number 12. Pablo Noel. In 1962, Pablo Noel took the circus stage in Hamburg, Germany, with a level of danger that would leave today's performers shaking. His act? Well, placing his head inside a lion's mouth, completely unguarded. It wasn't a one-off stunt or a cleverly staged illusion. This was the main event. Perched inches from a predator's teeth, Noel leaned entirely on trust and control, showing complete dominance over the beast. Acts like this were a hallmark of mid-20th century circuses, where trainers pushed themselves into situations that danced right on the edge of disaster. For spectators, the suspense was the thrill, the hush in the tent, the flash of jaws, the collective breath held. These weren't tame house cats. They were wild, instinct-driven animals. Pablo's performance blurred the line between bravery and recklessness, becoming a symbol of an era when circuses thrived on audacity. His lion act left audiences stunned, not just by the risk, but by the sheer nerve it took to pull it off. We mean, how can someone do that? It needs guts. Number 11. Alice Elizabeth Doherty. Alice, better known as the Werewolf Girl, was born with one of the rarest genetic conditions known, hypertrichosis lanuginosa. This caused her body to be covered from head to toe in a soft layer of lanugo-like hair. From an early age, her odd appearance drew attention. Her parents eventually chose to present her in public exhibitions, where she became a familiar face in traveling curiosity shows. Audiences were stunned by the sight of a child wrapped entirely in pale, silken fur. Though she never sought the spotlight herself, Alice's image became iconic in sideshow history. Unlike many others in the same circuit, she maintained a quiet, personal life, performing without theatrics or stage personas. Her condition, rare even by medical standards, made her a living mystery for doctors and audiences alike. Alice is remembered not just for her appearance, but for the quiet dignity she carried while being displayed as something the world had never seen. Number 10. Martin Lorello. Martin, famously known as the Owl Man, possessed an astonishing and deeply unsettling talent. He could twist his head completely backward, a full 180 degrees. This bizarre ability allowed him to stare directly behind himself without shifting his shoulders or upper body. It wasn't an optical illusion or visual trick. Through years of training and a rare anatomical condition, Lorello developed the power to dislocate his vertebrae without causing injury. Unlike standard contortionists, his act relied entirely on this single, spine-warping skill. He appeared regularly in sideshows and variety performances, often leaving audiences stunned and speechless. Doctors and spectators alike struggled to comprehend how such a maneuver was physically possible without lasting damage. While Martin never reached the fame of more mainstream acts, he earned a reputation as one of the most unusual performers of his time. His rotating head act remains one of the strangest feats ever seen on a circus stage. Bizarre, real, and unforgettable. Number 9. Annie Jones. Annie Jones was born in Virginia in 1865 and began growing facial hair at just 5 years old due to hypertrichosis, a condition marked by excessive hair growth. Her rare appearance quickly caught the attention of P.T. Barnum, who brought her into his American Museum in New York. Annie became known as the Bearded Woman and rose to prominence as one of the museum's standout performers. Her intelligence and graceful manner made her far more than a visual curiosity. She spoke eloquently, carried herself with confidence, and often represented others with rare conditions. Throughout her life, she remained involved in the world of entertainment, managing her own appearances and contracts with care. She earned a reputation not just for her beard, but for the pride and control she exhibited throughout her career. Annie used what set her apart to forge a respected identity in sideshow history, remembered for turning an unusual trait into personal empowerment and enduring fame. Life is short, so don't waste it on others. Number 8. Francesco Lentini. Francesco Frank Lentini was born in 1889 in Syracuse, Sicily, with a third leg extending from his right hip. The extra limb was part of a conjoined twin that had failed to fully develop. At age 8, he moved with his family to the United States, where he began performing in traveling shows. Lentini never tried to hide his condition. Instead, he made it the centerpiece of his act. Audiences were astonished to watch him jump rope, kick soccer balls, and move fluidly using all 3 legs. He often joked that he needed more food than most to feed the extra limb. His humor, confidence, and skill made him a favorite in the circus world. He performed with major companies, including Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey. Lentini also married, had children, and lived a stable, fulfilled life. He remains one of the few performers who turned a highly rare condition into a dignified, successful, and celebrated career in sideshow history. Number 7. Jack Earl. Jack stood at 6 feet tall by the time he turned 10. By age 13, he measured nearly 7 feet 7 inches, though reports of his full adult height vary between 7 feet 7 inches and 8 feet 6 inches. His extraordinary growth resulted from acromegalic gigantism, a rare condition that caused abnormal bone development. Earl began acting in Hollywood, with appearances in films like Hansel and Gretel and Jack and the Beanstalk. After sustaining injuries from a fall, he retired from the cinema. Shortly afterward, the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus offered him a 1-year contract. Though he had previously sworn off participating in freak shows, financial pressure forced him to reconsider. He eventually accepted and became a major attraction. Earl's size made everyday life difficult, but he remained charismatic and approachable to fans. He died on July 18, 1952, at the age of 46 years. Number 6. Myrtle Corbin. Myrtle Corbin was born in 1868 and made her debut in the sideshow world at just 13 years old, earning fame as the four-legged girl from Texas. She was born with diphagus, which is a super rare condition caused by a twin that didn't fully form. This gave her 2 separate pelvises and an extra set of small inner legs beneath her normal ones. Though born in Tennessee, her career was closely tied to Texas, where she became a major draw in freak shows and medical exhibitions. Spectators were stunned by her unique anatomy, often mistaking her extra limbs for an illusion. But Myrtle wasn't defined by the stage. She married, had 5 children, and led a relatively stable home life. She lived to age 59, which was notably long for someone in her position at that time. Myrtle's story stands out not just because of her body, but because she managed to live both a public and private life with dignity. All right, guys, now let's head over to number 5, Prince Randian. Prince Randian entered life without arms or legs, a condition that would have crushed most, but not him. He mastered control of his body to a level few could imagine. Using only his torso and chin, Randian learned to write, light cigarettes, shave, and even craft objects. Audiences were captivated by how agile and coordinated he was without limbs. His strength was undeniable, and his movements were smooth and practiced. He joined Barnum's Circus and quickly became one of its most unforgettable performers, often dressed in a snug wool bodysuit that enhanced his snake-like motion. His nickname, the Human Serpent, came from the way he moved fluidly across the stage without help. Randian wasn't just a spectacle. He was a performer with skill and spirit. Every act was a quiet rebellion against physical limitation. He remains one of the most respected and remembered sideshow legends from the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Number 4. Daisy and Violet Hilton. Daisy and Violet Hilton were born on February 5, 1908 in Brighton, England. They were fused at the lower spine and buttocks, sharing a circulatory system but retaining individual organs. From early childhood, they were trained in music and dance, and soon became highly sought-after performers. Their adoptive guardian, Mary Hilton, exploited them in traveling sideshows, and after her death, they were passed to her daughter and son-in-law, who continued the abuse. The sisters eventually sued for their independence in 1931 and won, gaining control over their own lives and earnings. They appeared in vaudeville, films such as Freaks and Chained for Life, and continued touring throughout the United States. Talented and determined, they turned exploitation into artistry, showing strength both on stage and off. Though their story began in captivity, Daisy and Violet became symbols of perseverance in the face of cruelty. Number 3. Johnny Eck. Johnny, born in 1911 in Baltimore, Maryland, had no lower torso. His body ended just below the ribs. Despite this, he lived a life packed with talent, movement, and bold creativity. From an early age, he embraced his difference, performing acrobatics that stunned crowds. He could run on his hands with unmatched speed and agility, often outpacing people with full legs. But Johnny wasn't just a physical performer. He was a painter, pianist, and even a filmmaker. His breakout moment came with the 1932 cult classic Freaks, where he delivered a striking, unforgettable role. He wasn't defined by sympathy. His performances stood on skill, control, and charisma. On stage, Johnny commanded respect. Off stage, he lived independently, pursuing art and music. He refused to be boxed in by pity or labels. Johnny Eck remains one of the boldest figures in circus history, not because of what he lacked, but because of how much he did with it. Number 2. Schlitzie. Schlitzie, born in 1901, became one of the most recognizable figures in sideshow history due to his condition, microcephaly, which resulted in a small head and lifelong cognitive impairment. Schlitzie was a natural entertainer, and his presence brought life to the stage. He gained popularity in sideshows for his energetic singing, playful dancing, and light-hearted spirit, which instantly connected with audiences. His contagious laughter and childlike demeanor made him a favorite wherever he performed. Schlitzie's career took a major turn in 1932 when he appeared in the cult film Freaks, where he played himself and gained national recognition. He continued performing for decades, loved not only for his uniqueness, but for his joyful personality. His caretakers described him as warm, happy, and deeply attached to life in the circus. Schlitzie's legacy endures as one of the most beloved sideshow personalities of the 20th century, someone who turned what others called a disability into a celebrated identity in entertainment history. Number 1. General Tom Thumb. General Tom Thumb, born Charles Stratton in 1838, stood at just 63 centimeters tall. He was discovered by P.T. Barnum at the age of 4 and quickly became the centerpiece of Barnum's American Museum in New York. But Tom Thumb was far more than a novelty. He could sing, dance, act, and perform uncanny impressions of famous historical figures, transforming himself into a complete one-man act. He wasn't just a sideshow attraction, he was a headliner. He traveled internationally, performing for European royalty, including Queen Victoria, and became a household name. His image was printed on everything from porcelain cups to collectible cards. Audiences were charmed by his presence, not just because of his size, but because of his wit, charisma, and talent. Tom Thumb shattered expectations and became a trailblazer for performers with unique physical traits. Even after his death, he remained one of the most memorable icons of 19th century entertainment, small in stature, massive in legacy. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.